Number one is surprising. Your content's got to be surprising, James. And that was surprising maybe because I didn't post that kind of stuff at 9:45 at night, right? Number two, it's got to be shocking. I don't know if it was shocking, but if your content has shockingness in like, oh my gosh, I didn't know Richard read that book. Oh, I didn't know Richard had kids. It could have been anything like that, right?
Yep.
Number three, relatable. And I think as soon as I said that, you knew the story, right?
Totally.
Relatable.
Hey, welcome to the show, Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business. This is Coach James Short, aka Shorty. And this is a show for those within the real estate industry wanting to lead and grow their real estate business. It's a series of interviews that we conduct for those within the industry. So we're finding out what those leaders are within the industry, what makes them tick, what's their story, what are their strategies, and how to become the leaders and the growers within the industry. But also it's an interview series with those outside of the industry. I'm always a big believer of looking at a whole different part of the pie rather than just focusing on one part of the pie. Because what it does, it allows you to have a different perspective, allows you to get snippets or golden nuggets from those outside of the industry that can look into the industry and go, there's a different perspective. And so I encourage you to reach out to the guests. I encourage you to lean into these series to find out how can these pieces of information, experiences, stories help you lead and grow your real estate business. Welcome back to another edition and welcome back to this legend guru, man of the moment, Richard Toutounji. For 2 decades, Richard has been driven by a passion for the health and fitness industry, a constant thread throughout his entrepreneurial journey. From owning Australia's first private fitness studio to founding Lifestyles Corporate Wellness, Meet Your Personal Trainer, and now CommMarketing, Richard has consistently innovated within the health and fitness industry. Alongside his wife, Joey, Richard co-founded CommMarketing, dedicated to empowering health and fitness studios across Australia and New Zealand to market and grow their business. Their mission is clear. As fitness businesses thrive, their community grows, and the ripple effect contributes to a healthier Australia. Fantastic. Through the award-winning CommMarketing Ninja program, Richard and his team have helped thousands of fitness studios. Richard has also worked with leading fitness businesses to deliver marketing education through webinars and live presentations, including AUS Active Exercise New Zealand, Pilates Alliance Australia, Zip Leads, Impact Training, Oz Fitness Expo, Ignite Fitness Business Events, Filix, and Yoga Australia. A best-selling author and international speaker, Richard is a serial entrepreneur with a passion to help fitness businesses owners to achieve. With his proven experiences and program, he strives to create a healthier, happier world. Currently residing in the Sunshine Coast, beautiful, just up the road from me, with his wife and 2 boys, Richard continues to inspire and make a lasting impact in the fitness industry. Legend, Richard, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for the amazing introduction. That's awesome. I must have wrote that, did I?
Yeah. Beautiful marketing piece. So good. So good.
Thanks, James. Great to be back on this. I really appreciate it. It's going to be good.
So good. Only last time, we could have gone down so many different rabbit holes, and that's why I wanted to get you back and go a little bit deeper into some of those topics, particularly around, becoming that market leader and the ultimate marketing plan. So really excited to unpack, but give us an update. What's been happening over the last, 6 to 12 months? What life and business has been like for you over that time frame?
Yeah, well, as you said, yes, I'm in Sunshine Coast. I've got 2 boys, and it's always busy and full on. And it's been a great, I always call things seasons, James. There's sometimes seasons that are busy at work, and there's sometimes season that's busy at family or other projects you may have. My season's been a bit of both, but it's been deep in growing the business. At the same time too, always understanding of how you can master the balance. I don't know if there's such a thing, but always more conscious around what we do and why we do it and who we work with, most importantly. And I think that's something that probably over the last 12 months, it's being really important of who we want to work with in CommMarketing, because every bit of energy that you put out is energy you get back, and vice versa. And so I think the world that we're in at the moment, the other thing that's happening is a lot of new developments with AI, lots of stuff happening over there in every single sector, every single industry, right? Everything's being disrupted. It will continue to get disrupted. So it also sort of makes you question everything and makes you analyze everything Is it, is AI here in this industry right now, or is it something in the future? And always understanding there's going to be changes, and there's going to be consistent changes in everything we do, both in family and in life. And even, two young boys, one's 5 and one's 8, and as they progress with every sort of child, you've got to look at what can they have access to, and what's that gonna look like in the future. And there's the new world that ChatGPT and robots and all these things are new in everything. So it's I think for everybody, we've got a lot of decisions to make. And I think one of the things you said before was we wanted to touch on market leaders and marketing plans and so forth. And market leaders is something that we've been heavily busy on. It's been a service that's been getting busier and busier, purely for the fact that I think time's the biggest factor for business owners, the lack of it. And even if we look at AI, it's still knowing how to work it and knowing what to do with it. So we've been quite busy on growing more market leaders in the industry for those who are wanting to get their message out there to their market.
I just want to grab something that you said around, particularly where your focus has been the last 6 to 12 months around being more selective. Now, I don't know about you, maybe it's me or maybe it's an age thing, but have you found as you're, once they get older or mature in life, do you find that that's fine-tuned in relations to, rather than just trying to go for everyone, trying to get everyone in business, go, 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 go? Do you find it's a little bit more selective because you've got more time, but you know who you are and how you can make a bigger impact?
Yeah, wow, great question. So first of all, I think it's definitely an age thing. You have more hair than me, but we may be around the same age, I guess.
I think I got
Um,
you.
but but it is an age thing, and I think an age comes down to an experience thing, and I think an experience thing comes down to trying things in many different ways beforehand, and then realizing that one of those directions may not have worked how you wanted it to work. Either it was from you or it was from that client you're working with. We've got great clients, James, we work with, and it's interesting. Sometimes there's a saying: the more they pay you, sort of the less headaches you could say they are, and the least they pay you, the more headaches they are. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I can certainly tell you that I don't think it's about what somebody pays you, but I actually think it's about their level of understanding business, their level of understanding relationships. I think with the world that we're in right now, I kind of say to clients, it doesn't matter what we do, our whole team is going to do the best possible job that we can do for you. We want you to win. We want you to succeed. We want to grow your marketing. We want you to become the market leader, the go-to person in your community. However, we may make a small mistake. Things may not go perfect. Marketing is very objective. And so we may have to disagree on certain things, and we may have to explain certain things. And so I want to work with clients who want us as partners, not just, hey, tick the box, do this, because anybody can do that with AI now.
Like a transaction, right?
ChatGPT 4, there's an AI agents now that's coming out. So anybody, if they want to work that way, they can. But what we look for now, James, and I think we look for people that we essentially can partner with. That's how we like to call it. Not that we're partnering as a business partnership, but we're acting like they're partners. And so we want to make sure we have a great relationship with that person, because it is a changing landscape. So for example, James, with market leaders, we post on every platform: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. And out of those platforms, they all change. LinkedIn has put some new rules out that you have to individualize posts from that, and you can't duplicate the content over. And so there's always changes that come up. And if they come up, we need to make sure that the person we're working with also understands that this is a change for us too. We didn't have an SOP on it. We didn't know about it up until 2 days ago. So it's something that we're also growing and doing our best job too. So yeah, I think it's about selecting, because we are wiser, and who we want to work with and spend our time with.
One of the other things that you mentioned is that C word, change, right? And I think COVID had taught a lot of things around, the good old word in inverted commas, pivot, but the ability to deal with change and to respond to change. Are you noticing businesses going back to old ways prior that and not being able to deal with change? Or are you seeing business owners, particularly in the health and fitness space, being more open to change and leaning into change and communicating about change?
Mm. Well, wow, great questions. Um, I think the ones that haven't lent into change and struggled to change. Not everybody's has the ability to move fast and adjust. It's not
Mm,
a skill set that everybody has.
yeah.
And so I think if you don't have that skill set, or you decide to say, "Hey, it's all too hard," and that's happening every day, James. I mean, COVID was whatever it was 5 years ago, but still, I think that was the easy thing. With all these changes in the landscapes of business, I think that's much harder right now.
Yeah.
So I do believe that over the last 5 years, I certainly have seen businesses that struggled to make the change or make the gap, or maybe they were towards their end of their career, or they weren't really into it in the first place. They are definitely not here anymore, James. And
Mhm.
they've decided to get a job. They've decided to partner with somebody. They've decided to, I don't need to be number one, I want to be number two. They've decided, and it's almost not decided, but we've been forced to be in the right position in our business.
Yeah.
And now I believe that, it's like an evolution. And if you are in business, I think, yes, we do. People that are working with us understand that things are changing and they're okay with it. And that's why a lot of the time they ask us to be their marketing partner and get them to become a market leader, because there's just a lot of things going in the marketplace. There's a lot of apps you got to use. There's a lot of how you got to post and when you got to post. Unless you're going to hire someone internally, it's quite a lot there. So yeah, I think people are better at having change happen to them, because I don't think there's a choice anymore, James.
Yeah. So true, right? So true. And as we go into the becoming that market leader and the ability to, deal with and adapt and change with the likes of AI and chatbots and
Mm.
agents and so forth. Talk to me about where the landscape is for that market leader and stepping into that. How has that changed over the last couple of years, and where is positioning yourself as a market leader now, and where do you see it going?
Yeah, well, I think nothing's really changed in marketing. Marketing, the point of marketing is to get attention. Okay,
Mhm.
now and I don't know I don't know what we touched on last time deeply, but I certainly know that marketing's harder
Yep.
because the attention gap is even harder. Now, why is it harder for? Because we've got things like ChatGPT that probably when we spoke last time, James, I think it was back in October, 6, 7 months, 8 months, has developed a lot, a
A
lot,
lot.
a lot. Okay. So now we're in a world that it's kind of even when I send a document, I quickly scan it through ChatGPT, clean up the spelling mistakes. I'm good to go. It looks nice, right? Well, there's so many ways to use it. So the attention, everybody can make their documents, their ads look better than they did before. So the attention and the quality of things are much higher. So that means then that everybody now is again on another level playing field again. So I don't think anything's changed. It's just you've got to be better. You've got to be
Yeah.
better.
Okay.
And I'll share a little story actually. So I was reading, talking about kids. I've got two boys, right? And I was reading this storybook to them. It was called Dr. Seuss, and it's called "Oh, the Places You'll Go."
Love
And
it.
I don't know if you've seen that, heard that. You
Love
like
it.
the book, James? Most
Yeah.
business people know that book, right? They know it because when they're in the shit, they go, "Oh my gosh, that's me." When they're in the high, they go, "Oh, that's me." You know what I mean? So
It's
it's relatable, right?
yeah.
And anyway, I read this book, and I put something on my Instagram, and it was a little like meme. I sort of said, "Hey, Ricardo's my son." I said, and I wrote like in apostrophes, "Ricardo, Dad, can we read a book?" And then I wrote, "Me, of course, but my pick tonight." And it was like a little summary of our conversation, and I put it on Instagram on a story, James, and I put it on a story. This was last year, and the reason why I mentioned it because it was the most viewed story in my life. Okay, my life. It
Wow.
was huge views. And I broke down why I thought that had the highest views. And there were six fundamental things that I'll share with the audience. And the six things sort of got it's the hidden attention angles. And I think today in marketing we have to understand what the hidden attention angles were. So just to summarize for listeners, it was a picture of the book, and it actually was a picture on bed sheets, so you could see it was on bed sheets, um, And that was the only picture, right? And then I put some words on it. So there was nobody in the picture, but it was posted at 9:45 p.m. in the evening. Okay. Now there were 6 things that I broke that picture down. And if anybody's listening to this, I want to write these 6 things down because I think that they're the backbone still of marketing today and what we have to look for with attention being all-time low if you're a market leader or if you're doing your own marketing, whatever it may be. Number one is surprising. Your content's got to be surprising, James. Now that was surprising, maybe because I didn't post that kind of stuff at 9:45 at night, right? Number two, it's got to be shocking. I don't know if it was shocking, but if your content has shockingness in like, oh my gosh, I didn't know Richard read that book. Oh, I didn't know Richard had kids. It could have been anything like that, right?
Yep.
Number three, relatable. And I think as soon as I said that, you knew the story, right? Relatable.
Totally.
Now, it was relatable to a business owner, but it was also relatable to a parent because the parent might be still trying to get their kids to bed at 9:30 at night, right? And that was me. It was like, damn it. So it was relatable. So it was relatable to different audiences. So sometimes your content's got to be matched depending on who your audiences are. Number four was to be personable. Number four, I should say personable. Yes, it was personable. It was a picture taken at my son's bed. Not that you could see my son in the picture, but you could see the bed sheets, right? It was 9:45 nights. That's personal, right? It's personal in my world, right? And if you're not usually doing that content, that was even more personable. So again, it depends on what you kind of post. So personal is really numb. 5 is timely. This is a big one, James, with AI and automations of content. Timely. Timely was at 9:45 at night. That's timely, right? So it's like, oh, that's real. That's happening right now. And number 6 is playful. Playful. Is your content playful enough? Now, with so much stress in the world and things to do at 9:45 at night, you don't want to be talking about work. You want something fun to talk to your partner with maybe when you're sitting on the lounge. Go, oh, that's fun, right? So I'll repeat those again. Surprising, shocking, relatable, personal, timely, and playful. Now, I think that post had around 5 of the 6. That's why it went so well. And that's kind of my takeaway when you're not sure if the content's going to work, if you're not sure your video is going to work. And I think that's how we get attention angles. Now, can AI do that? Maybe. But I also think you've got to be a good operator and you've got to be a good marketer and you've got to understand, how I'm going to put those prompts and you've got to understand what pitch you're going to take. And I just don't think that at this still point that I don't think people should be scared of AI at this point. I think it's just another thing like Google. It's another thing like X. Yes, it's a huge part of it, but it's like everything. We learn how to use a telephone. We learn what an email was. We learn how to search the web. We learn what ChatGPT is. We're just going to learn the same thing, but you still can't drop your eye off the prize. And when it comes to content, when it comes to organic reach, people are smarter with paid ads. People, ChatGPT and AI will be able to do paid ads, and that's what Facebook's already put in. So it also means, and I resonate this again, and Market Leader's been on for 10 years, but people buy from people. And even with AI coming up, people are still going to say, is that AI? Is that real? So I still believe that because we're serving community, we're serving people, and these people that we're serving may not be business operators as savvy as you possibly. So they're still going to rely on people. So that's why we've just been inundated with our market leader service because people have messages and they want to get it out there, and they want to get out there in a very effective manner.
And I guess that's the reason why you are busy, because thinking about those 6 different aspects. Now, obviously, our audience is strongly focused in the real estate space, and those leaders within the space, there could be the leading agent or a principal or director, for them to stop and actually think, oh my gosh, now hang on, is this post going to tick this box and this box? That's why yourself are so busy, because no, let me take that away from you and we'll look after that, because otherwise they're going to spend so much time thinking about it and not doing it because I'll think I'll just pick up the phone and try and get the next deal. So yeah, it's quite an interesting, like there's so much detail, but yet that's why you're the expert, you're the market leader in what you do, and let someone else be the market leader in the real estate space as well.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love, as I said, I love partnering. I love understanding what their main problem is and what problem they want solved. And a lot of the time it's time, obviously it's more deals, it's more listings. And to do that, you've got to stay in your sweet spot, your zone of genius.
Mm.
And we all know when we get not in our zone of genius, how hard the work becomes, right? It's draining.
Yeah.
So when you're in your zone of genius, things are good.
So talk to me about when, like, what, why don't people become market leaders? What's the main
Ooh.
reason that people fall down in relations to that space? Hey guys, just a little side note here. How's it going? Are you on track this year? I know that sometimes this part of the year we can feel like we're in a bit of a grind, a bit of in the trenches. Are you on track from the original plans that you set out for the rest of this year? What I've realized is that with this time of year, we get so distracted and we've got trying to chase so many shiny balls and go down so many rabbit holes. And that's why I created a program called the 90. It's a framework that actually allows you to achieve more in 90 days than ever before. Some of the feedback that we've got from some of the people that have used the process, the 90, is that they've achieved more in 90 days than the whole previous year. So if you'd like to have the tools, have the techniques, have the framework on the 90, so you and your team can achieve more in 90 days than ever before. What it does, it impacts you of how to get clear, what you need to do, and who you need to be to show up in order to achieve the things you want to achieve over the next 90 days. Simply head over to jamesshort.com.au, click on join the waitlist, fill in your details, and one of the team members will be in touch and take you through the 90 framework. On with the show.
All right. You got some stellar questions, James. I love them. All right. A couple of things. Number one, people are generally, the best people I believe that have the biggest, they want to serve is they're the world's best kept secret. That's generally what they refer themselves to. So if you're the world's best kept secret, you can retain, people call you up, listen to the property and you've got regular clients always coming in. It means you're doing a really good job already. It means you're really good at what you do. You get the highest listings. You're great at what you do. And so the problem is that those type of people are so busy doing what they do because they're good at it. And then they kind of forget that they need to do the other things. Now, why do they do the other stuff for? The other things like marketing is because there's always a bad week. There's always a bad month. There's always a competitor coming up. There's always somebody that's a little bit better than socials than you. There's always someone around the corner, or there's always a low period. And what our goal is never to have low periods. Now, to go back to your question, is that they're not market leaders, again, because they're too busy, but number two, they probably is not their skill set. So I've got a really good friend. He's a professional speaker. He is amazing at what he does. Amazing, right? But him personally posting, he doesn't have time. He's always flying. He's always doing stuff. And so it's not his skill set. Is he amazing at what he does? Yes. Is he relied on social media? No, he's not relied on social media. However, again, like everything, there's always a low period. There's always a time that people need to believe in what you're selling and how they're doing. And they don't know how good you actually are. So I just think that it's a time thing for most people that are good at what they do. And then the second thing is possibly an understanding that, well, the way that we've always done it was the way we'll always do it. And so it's not understanding that the game has moved and it's consistently moving. And that's where we get people, they get caught out, or they go, oh, they're ancient, all those kind of things, right? And so if you're feeling that way, it's probably the time to say, yeah, I need to have that conversation. I need to essentially look at what we're actually doing from, if somebody didn't know what we did at all, if we were totally invisible and we're never spoken to somebody, what do we look like on the front end? And a really simple test, James, you can do is go to your social media. Like real estate agents should have some great personal social media, right? Or your company social media, and you just got to look back the last 30 days on Instagram. How many posts did you actually post the last 30 days on Instagram? Now, if you're not posting every single day, at least Monday to Friday, if you don't have 20 posts on there, you're not even in the field of play. You're not even in the field of play, James. So if you're saying, I've got 3 posts, or someone said, I've got 8 posts, it's like you've gone to the football ground and you're about to get on it, but you just got benched and nobody's even seeing you play. That's what it's like. And it's hard and it's a harsh reality. And we go through those periods where we don't post and, oh my gosh, And the roll-on effect's not that day. The roll-on effect is around 60 to 90 days after. That's the roll-on effect that you have.
So, that's game. I love it being benched. So, such a good analogy, and it's so true. And it is like in the real estate space, like people will prospect. They get a bunch of listings, then they service, and they got no listings, and they prospect. So it's like this roller coaster. And this is, as you said, where the marketing comes into place. So rather than doing the roller coaster, you're having more of that smooth sailing. So you've got that constant eyeballs out there and people knowing, liking you, trusting you without you picking up the phone and doing the hard yards all the time.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what it's like. It's that we don't want that flood of leads, but we don't want the tap dripping. We want a consistent flow of views, a consistent flow of inquiries, and that's generally what most people want that zone to be in, so they can do their zone of genius for
Yeah,
sure.
that's great. And so then segue into the ultimate marketing plan.
Yep.
We talked about becoming that market leader within the area. What is it about the ultimate market plan that people need to know and be aware of?
Hmm. Okay, well, there's a few different things when we put content out. That's one stream. And then I'll touch on the marketing plan, but also touch on something we'll call the 5 funnels. So if we post this content every day on every single social media platform, right, we essentially could probably post around 150 to 200 times in a month for your organic content be seen. So that's what we call one funnel, okay? The second funnel is um, community outreach. So for real estate agent, being involved in community events and so forth, sponsoring fun runs or anything like that, right? That's a community funnel, right? And that's another stream. And then we might have paid ads that we do, okay? So paid listing ads or paid personal ads yourself, right? There's 3. And you might have partners that you work with, and with all that, and that's 4 funnels, right? And the 5th funnel, it can just be outreach or inbound, like email marketing and so forth. So database marketing. So there's 5 funnels. And those 5 funnels, if they're active, they're funnels. But if they're inactive, they're a parked funnel. Now, the question is, do you first of all have 5 marketing funnels that are active at one time? Because there's always ways that one marketing funnel won't work and it just is not working at that point. So you got 4 to bounce off. And that's come from just a lot of personal ways where I've had businesses. I've lost the entire business because I didn't have multiple legs on my marketing funnel. Back in the day, I had many different directories, and my directories only had one source of leads, and that was search engine optimization. As soon as the algorithms changed, I lost pretty much my entire business in 30 days because I didn't have a bundle of funnels. Yeah. I got calls from removalists at the time. I had removalist funnels, and I got a call like about 100 calls over 2 weeks, cancellations. They weren't getting leads. And I just thought that, it's just a bad lead day or week. But I didn't have any other funnels at the time. So as good as when the sun, the saying, the sun's shining, it's shining, but the sun always doesn't shine. It doesn't work that way. So 5 funnels are important. And I'd say, okay, we just talked about, are you on every day on social media platforms, Monday to Friday? So if you are, then it comes down to the level of content, those 6 attention funnels I had. And that's one funnel. But we're talking about having at least 3 to 5, right? And depending on the size of your business, you may not need 5, but you generally at least need 3, okay? 4's equal because it's like a table, right? And 5's just a bit more sturdy in the middle. So you're generally going to need at least 3 to 5 funnels. And once you have those funnels dialed in, then we can spend more time on the type of content and the quality of the content and so forth. And there's questions always too, James, like, what about the quality over quantity? And people are seeing my emails, or they're seeing my ad or my face too many times. I don't know if real estate agents don't have that problem, but they might like seeing
Probably
their
not.
face. I'm not sure. Yeah, but essentially, nobody's counting and saying, I've got an email from you yesterday, James. I don't know if I want to get another email from today. Nobody's doing that in their inbox, right? Again, it's just that attention piece to actually get seen the first place. So if you send an email every day, it doesn't really matter. You'll get unsubscribes, but you'll also get people that are actually going to start to want to list and so forth. So 5 marketing funnels, and the marketing plan just comes down, and we've got a plan. We probably can't present it on a podcast like this, but it's a detailed plan around ensuring that once you've got the structure in place, it's about doing the reps. You're either going to do it, your assistant's going to do it, you're going to hire someone to do it, but most importantly, it's got to be done. That's it. It's like prospecting, doing the calls, they've got to be done. Add them to the list. Because the way I see it, James, is that, and we work a lot with real estate agents, and we, a lot of our market leader program started in real estate industry actually. And we went around with an agent who was doing the 5 marketing funnels. However, his attention wasn't great. And so what we decided to do is create our own version of the show, and it was called The Real Estate Name and the Area. And he went around and interviewed all the different local businesses, from dog parlors to gyms to schools to local Rotary clubs, and he interviewed them. And what happened over the course of the next year leading to that is that he walked down the street and people knew who he was, not the real estate guy, but the guy that supported the community. And that was how he found his attention. He went on to do about 200 weekly shows, and nothing was talked about real estate. But I can guarantee you that his listings went up, his sales went up, his referrals went up, because everybody knew who he was. And sometimes we get over seeing the same profile picture on the billboard, right? Yes, we know you're a real estate agent, but tell me a little bit more about yourself. Tell me the believability of that. Are you a really nice guy, or who do you work with, or girl, whatever? And so that's where it comes down to. Content will always outbid bed an ad, and it will always is more believable than anything we do here. And so the marketing plan then just comes down to, hey, are you hitting the numbers? Is the traction going? Are you hitting it on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, and vice versa? So we have a full 30-day calendar, and I'm happy to give that to you and your listeners, James. They can just opt in and grab that totally free, and they can start to run their marketing that way. So it takes the pressure of having to go, what am I going to do? Just follow the plan. It works. Just got to follow it, right?
And I think there's a couple of pieces I want to pick up on that. One is that interview process. And I think, yes, rather than hey, what's listed, what's sold in your area, it's how do you provide that added value to community, where focusing on a community or a hyper local area and just add massive value. Because as you said, this agent was walking down the street and he's now known in the area as, hey, give me an update on the school or the local club or whatever it is. And I think that in itself, you'll never run out of content. And that's the great thing. There's always pieces of content that you can do within your local community, which is absolutely amazing. And so how often would that look like? Was that done once, an interview every week?
Yeah. So how we did it for the formalities of it, we actually went out and organized a filming afternoon. So after lunch, about 12 to 4, we would go and do 4 episodes in 1 month, 1 day, I should say. It took about 4 to 5 hours, and we had them lined up, and then we put that content out once a week after that. So it was really around once a month content loading, and that's what we do with our market leaders. We can film enough content in 3 months in 1 day. So what we want to do is we want to speed through things and get really planned, so then we don't have to worry about anything else again. And everybody's busy in this world. Everybody's busy, but we want to make sure it's really simple and easy to execute that. So we always batch content. Otherwise, it just becomes really hard to get out.
And the other thing, yeah, perfect. The other thing that I wanted to ask is, you got your marketing plan, as you said, it's about doing the reps. How often should someone be reviewing their plan to ensure that they're on track, or if they're off track, and then what do they need to do to get back on track?
Yeah. I think the best way to review it, like we can look at the numbers and the stats and all that kind of stuff daily, right? Everything. But I'm a kind of quarterly guy, where if you do enough content for 90 days, or plan, hey, this is the style of content I'll do for 90 days, this is the kind of theme I'm going to do, just get it done and move forward. And don't ask yourself, or don't, because with content, James, everybody hates listening to their voice. Nobody likes to be on camera, generally speaking. Not everybody likes being on camera, and then they overthink it.
Yeah.
And so it's easier at the end of the month, you do your first month and say, oh, I didn't like that actually. Oh, this is, and then it delays you. But you're not going to really see the benefits of content, at least for 90 days. You're going to start to feel the vibe, the energies. You got to have people come up to you and say, oh yeah, I've been liking this, but you got to be consistent. So consistency is key. And to get consistency done, I'd review it every 90 days. You can micro review it and you can look at the reels and that, but who cares? Who cares? If the content's out, it's out. You've either got 1,000 people looking at it, 10,000 people look at it, or 10 people. At the end of the day, if we only need one listing, it can come from one person. So I just don't think it's I'm not a really big believer in the numbers. The numbers will happen if they're meant to happen. The numbers will happen with the consistency. But I think if we can get the consistency going first, then we can be particular on the numbers. But I haven't seen that many people get that consistent that were able to dissect what's really happened over the last 90 days. And so I always say, be consistent, and the consistency will outpay any analytical data that you can be given.
So true. And I like that piece around it doesn't need to be perfect. And that's where so many, particularly agents, they get hooked up on, oh, but the lighting and the scripting, it's like, just get it done. And that's coming back to the whole consistency piece. I think managing that consistency is crucial. Like anything in life, it's that positive activity compounding over time. That's going to have that roll-on effect, which is fantastic. Oh, amazing. So
Totally.
much.
Yeah, totally.
So as we come into a close for today's show, what would be, if someone's listening to this and go, yeah, okay, market leader, okay, yeah, great, I've got my 5 funnels. Where should they start? What would be 1 or 2 pieces of advice that you would like to share on how could someone get started?
I think the easiest thing to get started is there's 2 ways to get started. One, if you've never been on camera before, so I'm speaking to anybody who's never been on camera before, then they're nervous of it. I would start with doing a story in Instagram or Facebook, right? Because stories are 24 hours. They're gonna churn and burn. They're gonna be gone. So do a story to your phone, and we have a philosophy called 30 by 60. So it's 4 15-second stories every day for 30 days, right? So 4 15-second stories every day for 36 days, and you're basically doing stories around how to connect. There's a 4-part process to it. Basically, how to connect to the audience. What are you doing and what it means to the audience? So I'm just been on this podcast with James, check it out. And I turn my phone around. Hey, this is what's happening behind the scenes. What does it mean to them? Hey guys, when was the last time you did content? So you can do a story every day for 30 days. That's going to get you consistency on, that it's going to take you all of 5 minutes max in the morning, right? My recommendation is do in the morning before anything happens, before the phone calls, just get it done. Okay. The whole thing at once. I think that's my first piece is be consistent if you're not already. And the second thing, if you are pretty good on camera and you're fine to talk, it comes natural to you. My thinking is that you want to now prove that you can take what you're really good at and take it online. So some great ideas is that you might have had a conversation. So I would think back now, if you're listening to this, did you have any interesting conversations the last 24 to 48 hours? So you may have talked to a vendor, you may talk to a purchaser, and it might have been an interesting conversation about their house or the price they got for anything like that. And then you'd write down name, talk about the price, right? And that's a piece of content. So you can just start the piece of content with the camera saying, hey, I was talking to one of my clients today and we talked about X, and just talk in a minute, and we call it educational content. So educate the audience around what just happened, because generally when you speak about what just happened, it's easier to create content that way than, go to ChatGPT and say interesting things that I should talk about as a real estate agent, because that's not natural for you. So you just talk about the things that you're used to talking about. And the reason why that's important, James, is because then that's going to be you, and that's going to be your DNA, and that's who you're about. And it's going to be easy to get content that way. And so the best market leaders that I work with, I love just hanging out with them, for an hour or two, talking to them, getting to know them. And then I'm literally writing down, what they just said to me, because everybody talks about stories, right? So you're just writing down, oh, James did this, or Richard read his book to his son. I'm writing it on my notes on my phone, my yellow notes on my phone. And by the end of the conversation, hour and a half hanging out with them, I've got 20 pieces of content. And then I look at them and I say, hey, can we talk about these things? I go, oh, absolutely, I can talk about that. and that's it. It's done. You got your content done in an hour. So if you've got someone to bounce off like that, that would be great. And that's essentially is going to help you to just get out what you've been doing out on camera. And if you don't have to overthink it, you've done it, you've talked about the last 48 hours. And then the hard stuff, James, the technical stuff, the editing, all that kind of stuff. Listen, you can pay, if you got some kids that are 10, you could probably pay them to edit, right? You could outsource it. You could get to an agency like us. You could hire somebody, but that's not the hard stuff. The hard stuff today is actually the content. And now, even with us, James, is yes, we edit, yes, we post, yes, we distribute it. But the most important thing that we do is we take the right content and we know what questions to ask, because that's the most important piece here. Anybody can edit, right? There's apps you use CapCut. That's a great app to edit. We get all our team to use that. It's the best app. But it's the questioning is the key. That's the most important thing.
Gold. Absolutely fantastic. Really appreciate it, Richard. So, Richard, where can they go to find out more? Where can they get, you've got some amazing resources. Where can we direct the audience?
The easiest place is go to commmarketing.com.au. And also, just like you, James, I've got my own podcast show, and you've been featured on there too. So they should definitely listen to your episode, because you're always interviewing. So listen to your episode on my podcast called the Marketing Muscle Up Podcast Show. There's heaps of free resources and videos and so forth. And that's, just take the first step and take it from there.
Richard, really appreciate your time, energy, and expertise today. Thank you.
Thanks so much, James, for having me on. It's been a pleasure.